Hi, and welcome to day 15 of the 28 Days of Play. This is a February painting series focused on painting playful florals according to different prompts that we use each day. Today's prompt was simple and playful: no brushes. And this is just such a fun prompt because anytime I remove a familiar tool from my process, something inside me shifts. It's like I'm getting out of my comfort zone, but then I'm also remembering that I can be creative in new ways. All of a sudden, my marks loosen up, my expectations soften a little bit, and I start to lean into curiosity a little bit more. So for this piece, I explored painting without brushes. Instead, I was using things like pens or dripping ink right out of the bottle, or using silicone squeegees and things like that to move the paint around. In this way, it was a very intuitive and hands-on approach to moving the paint physically on the paper to create expressive marks and layered florals. Working in this way, it really invites a little bit more freedom and permission to play and a deeper connection to the process itself. So let's take a look at what I've got going on here. I've written right on to my sheet the words "no brushes." Usually I write words of intention, but I guess my intention today was to remind myself not to use brushes and instead to just play and to flex that muscle of creativity that just happens when you do step out of your comfort zone a little bit. So I started then with some acrylic paint and moving that around with a little metal spatula. Then I dripped ink, watercolor ink, right onto the page. And now I'm coming back in with a larger catalyst squeegee or spatula and moving around some of the quin magenta that's mixed with a glazing medium, so it's really sheer. If you're creating along with me, try setting your brushes aside today as much as you can. Use what's around you instead. Don't let it be a hindrance or an obstacle if you don't have some of the same tools that I do. But if you're interested, there are definitely tools that you can find at your local art store. But let your hands guide you. So maybe you find a, a limber or pliable piece of cardboard that you could use instead. Maybe cut a piece of a cereal box and use that, or an old credit card that you could use to move paint around, perhaps the back side of a spoon or something else. Just take a look around. There are lots of opportunities for mark making with very non-traditional tools. So what I'm doing now is I'm mixing up a series of different colors and values with different transparency over here on my palette. So I'm mixing a little bit of yellow with the magenta, and I'm bringing in some fluorescent pink. I'm also adding transparent white because, unlike titanium white, transparent white allows for the layers beneath to shine through, and it really doesn't increase the vibrancy like a white does. So it's a slow building of layers with different levels of transparency and lighter values. I encourage you to play with different tools to see, maybe on a scrap piece of paper, to see what kinds of marks you can make with them. Um, but I am just mixing up still some green over here, and I'm going to put a little bit of teal on my palette as well. And I'm going to start to layer these guys over here on my flowers. But the wonderful thing about working with no brushes is that when I put down a mark, I'm not tempted to blend it in, and I'm not tempted to kind of keep fussing with it and make it perfect. Instead, I just let that mark live right where it lands in the way that it lands. And I think there's a really beautiful energy that comes in that. The reason I've mixed up my colors in advance is because now I want to start working quickly. I kind of want to just stay in this flow of adding colors and shifting values to see what comes out. And I really don't want to stop to be mixing colors. So I'm just moving my way around the flowers, kind of thinking about what side might be getting a little bit of light hitting it and what side might be a little bit more in shade. That helps me to create more of a 3D shape as I'm adding different marks to the flowers. I'm also now adding a little bit of heavy gel medium. Generally, I work with fluid body acrylic paints, but if you add some heavy medium to it, you can bulk it up and make it something that is more textured. And so that's generally how I like to work. I don't buy a lot of heavy body or super heavy bodied paints. Instead, I just buy the medium and mix it as I use it. It just seems to be a little bit more efficient for me to work that way. So now I'm continuing to add lighter and brighter colors as I'm getting to the top layers of this painting. And I'm starting to be very intentional about the marks that I'm making to create those petals that are the brightest. I'm also adding some of that green to my painting to just kind of give an idea that there might be some leaves coming in, just keeping those marks really loose and not fussy. We want to just maintain that same level of expressiveness that we have in these other marks that we've been making. So I'm adding a little bit of the greenery around the edges, just kind of sneaking in around the flowers. Now I'm adding some of that blue. So you might think of this as like maybe it's a little bit of sky kind of peeking through on the painting. And now I'm picking up a special little tool. This is a very tiny silicone brush with a small tip on it. And I'm just picking up a little bit of that blue paint, and I was kind of painting it into the centers of those flowers. If you didn't have something like that, you could use a straw or a Q-tip. So I'm just continuing to look at like value. I was thinking maybe the values on that blue were a little dark, so I lightened those up a little bit, brought a few little pops of that through the centers of the florals as well. But we're getting really close here. So I wanted to quick let you guys know that I'm just about to release a new online class, which is several hours long, of actually painting abstract florals called Boundless Blooms, but it's a whole course on painting without brushes, and I think you will just love it. We paint a whole series of mini canvases all at one go, and then we actually end up going big on a large 24 by 24 inch. It is so much fun. Thanks for being here with me today. It has been really nice creating with you this afternoon. And I hope that you have enjoyed this little challenge of setting your brushes aside so that you can play with some more non-traditional tools and let your hands guide you and see what happens on your canvas today. It's always so good to just stay playful and present. And gosh, I love the texture on this piece. I look forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow. Happy painting.